So there's no reason to thump our chest on this. But, you've heard of the gold medal count, right? The gold medal count. How about the television official count? The ratings are in. Everything exploded in Paris, with one exception: women's basketball. The ratings couldn't even beat the Tokyo Olympics that happened during COVID. The men's, with fading old stars, LeBron, KD, Steph, got 20 million viewers, over doubled the last Olympics. And it's LeBron and Steph and KD. It's the old guys. People couldn't get enough. Breakdancing was a hit. And yet the women who won gold, attendance down, ratings flat. How? Everything else exploded because there was a giant wave in women's college basketball, and they forgot their surfboard. Not only Caitlin Clark, but Angel Reese and Caitlin should have been on this team. Women's basketball had a moment, and they couldn't meet it. The reality is they got too insular. They're too loyal to the niche women's basketball media. Stop it. Ruffle feathers. Who cares if you leave a couple of talented, albeit not that popular players off for Caitlin Clark? Team USA left Jaylen Brown off this team and Isaiah Thomas on another team and put in Christian Laettner. Isaiah's still pissed about it. Get over it. They won the gold. Best team ever, probably. This was a moment. And I'm not here to lecture. We won. As I say on Mondays, often, where Colin was right.
Colin was very right.
Yeah, I was very right. But it's no need to bang on women's basketball. This is a teaching moment. Is that you've heard of that saying, a disruptor? Like Caitlin Clark was the disruptor. Conor McGregor kind of ended boxing. Nobody wanted to watch boxing. And Dana White leaned into it. Yes, sometimes Conor was inappropriate and did dumb things. And Bryce Harper fought with teammates. But when you get these moments, here comes the wave. Grab your surfboard, ride it. Don't get insular. Don't get precious. Don't lecture us that we didn't watch the sport. Everything in Paris exploded, except women's basketball. And now the Premier League starts Friday. College football 10 days out. Dodgers-Yankees will headline a very interesting baseball postseason, NFL preseason, and the WNBA, it'll be off the agenda. I spent all summer talking women's basketball. It's crazy. We were like, this is amazing. This is fascinating. Caitlin Clark is Taylor Swift in sneakers. And now it's over. Nobody's going to care. So there's no reason to pound our chest or lecture. But it was a moment. It was your time. Well, we only had a few practices. Christian Laettner wasn't even in the NBA yet. This was it. Anecdotally, I watched 12 minutes of the women's team. The Japan game. They had one player over 6'1", and I thought they're going to cruise. And they mostly did, one close game. But breakdancing exploded. This should have been the Olympics of Katie Ledecky, Simone Biles, and the women's basketball team. And it was the only thing that was flat or down from Tokyo. Caitlin Clark now trying to drum up interest in the Yankee booth recently over the weekend, talking about not being picked.
I think in time it gives you something to work for, and obviously it's a tough turnaround. I only played 10 games in the WNBA before they picked the roster. So that team is so talented. I think the USA on the women's side is just so dominant. But it's definitely something for me to work for in 2028, and obviously that's in LA. So that would be a fun first opportunity for myself.
Yes, 2028 in Los Angeles, they will crush. But that's 4 years down the road. That's not the moment. The The WNBA was just flying regular commercial flights like you and I. Caitlin arrived. They now have a 2-year deal for their own flights. This was it. This was the moment. They always say in real estate, it's all location. They always say in business, it's all about timing. You had both. Paris was the location, and the timing was now. And you left your surfboards at home. So this is interesting. The WNBA.
Okay. That's what's insane. Absolutely, positively insane. This is what I've been trying to say. This is the message that I've been trying to encourage, to try to lay out for everyone, that this was such a massively missed opportunity. I mean, it's just insane how badly they fumbled this. This is going to be the last Caitlin Clark Olympic video that I make. But Colin came out and said this, and I was just like, he's 100% spot on, so I knew I had to make a video with regards to this. Because it's just, they want to keep denying Caitlin Clark's effect on all of this. They want to keep denying it. Yet, we have a perfect example of the Olympics. They keep acting like, no, it's Asia Wilson, Sabrina, Diana Taurasi. It's not just Caitlin Clark. And then you have this. The Olympics exploded in ratings. Exploded. I'm connected to the sports world, obviously. Right? I have these channels. I'm very passionate. I watch all the stuff. Everybody was talking about Team USA basketball. They were talking about the breakdancing. They were talking about Simone Biles. They were talking about the men's gymnastics. They were talking about Katie Ledecky. They were talking about Noah. They were talking about Sha'Carri Richardson. Like, they were doing all of that type of stuff. Nobody talked about women's basketball. Nobody. And I don't even just mean on the media. I just mean like friends and family. Just common conversation. When you're in the grocery store saying, oh, did you hear about Ledecky? Oh, did you see what Simone Biles did? Like, just little conversations like that. Nobody. I didn't hear anyone talk about women's basketball. And the ratings prove it. The ratings prove it. And what Colin was trying to emphasize is that this was going to be the year that the women dominated the headlines at the Olympics. I think for Team USA, they won technically like majority, like 60%. I forget what their number is, like 60% of the medals. Caitlin Clark would have brought so much energy, eyes, camaraderie, fandom, intensity to the Olympics. People want to keep saying, their big counter is they won gold, it doesn't matter. And that is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Do you know how many other Olympic events that they could have? But if people don't watch it, then they're not going to have it. They could have Olympic, bed folding, Olympic, laundry. I mean, you can make an event out of anything. What makes something worth having is because people watch it. That's how it works. It's not just about winning. That's not how it is. That's not what sports is. It's entertainment over anything. That's what it is. If it was just about winning, then the WNBA would already be popular. These women would be popular, but they're not. People would watch it. People would be watching it, but they don't. Caitlin Clark was not only good enough to be on the Olympics, but also just her sheer popularity should have put her on the Olympics. And if you can't understand that, I just don't think there's going to be anything anyone can say. Then you don't accept that these are entertainment companies. The WNBA is an entertainment industry. The NBA, entertainment. NFL, entertainment. That's what it's about. Entertainment. If it's not entertaining, then people don't watch. No one's watching the XFL. Or whatever the heck it's called these days. They keep changing the name. They keep having all these random different leagues. No one watches it. It doesn't matter. I'm sure women's field hockey in college is so competitive, so exciting. No one watches it, so it doesn't matter. You have to go where the popularity is. Caitlin Clark is absolute box office, and it's undeniable. They had this momentum, and what Colin's trying to emphasize here is that The baseball playoffs are going to be starting. The NFL is starting. College football is starting. You only have so many minutes in a day. They were ready to set up to dominate the summer for women's basketball, and they fumbled it. And now they're going to try to regain that momentum post-Olympics. And what Colin is essentially saying is like, bro, I don't got time for it on my show. I got to talk about college basketball. I got to talk about the NFL. I'm going to talk about baseball playoffs. Like, I can't talk about this. I was able to talk about it in the summer, but I can't talk about it now. The NBA will start up. At least like more heavy news around the NBA will start up. You only have so much time. That's the reality. And you can see Colin's views on YouTube and, any of these other people. You could see that they are less interested in Caitlin Clark right now when you're talking about a more diverse channel like, because Colin is talking about so many different things. Now, maybe some of the more niche channels that are more specific to basketball will still be okay and stuff like that. But the whole point is to get out of that, to try to expand the audience, to get the people that don't normally watch to start to watch. That's how you grow. Football is not just popular because of the diehard fans, the fans that are taking their shirts off and screaming. No, it's because like lots of like completely random people watch it. 55-year-old women who have never played a sport in their life will sit down and watch it. They know who Patrick Mahomes is. They know who Tom Brady is. They know all that. But they can't name a basketball player. They can't name a WNBA player. They can name Caitlin Clark. And if you just embrace Caitlin Clark, they will be able to start to understand the WNBA as a whole. They will start to like these other women as a whole. They will be introduced to them. I keep saying this because it just needs to be emphasized. Caitlin Clark is the doorway through all of this. She is what makes this happen. She is why people will become fans of other players and why the WNBA will grow as a whole. It's not just about Caitlin Clark, because that's also the other counter that people keep trying to say. Well, it's not just about her. Right, but it is about her now. She will be the key to other people liking it, but you can't force us to like other players, especially if they're inherently unlikable. Especially if they're actively rejecting the player that most people like. That's not a us problem. That's a you problem. It's not our fault you're on the outside. You can keep trying to fight it. The more you fight it, the more you hurt the league. I mean, think about how if Caitlin Clark wasn't even remotely involved. Think about how the biggest Olympic story for women's basketball was Caitlin Clark not on the team. Bigger than them winning, bigger than them, going undefeated. Nobody cared. The biggest story was Caitlin Clark just not being on the team. And then during the Olympics, the biggest story was Caitlin Clark should be on the team. Do you see the common theme here? It's Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark. Keep up or get left behind. You better embrace it. I mean, these media companies, Fox, ESPN, all of it, YouTube, online, no matter, however we want to slice it, they want the WNBA to be popular. They want women's sports to be popular. It's good for ratings. It's good for money. It's more content. It's more content. The more successful and more popular the WNBA is, the better it is for everyone involved. So they want this to happen. But the WNBA is going out of their way to not. And don't tell me that it's just Team USA. It's one and the same. It's one and the same. So yeah, I'm really curious to see if they can kind of recapture some momentum. I'm going to be covering it, of course, because this is specifically a basketball channel. But I just already know, that once momentum is lost, it can be really difficult to regain. The best chance they have is if Caitlin Clark does something else pretty extraordinary, has back-to-back triple-doubles or just another triple-double in general, would probably go a long way. Setting the record for most threes in a game or something, or, a 40-point game. I don't know. I'm just trying to, make stuff up. Like, it would have to be something that would be really big for everyone to get behind. But right now, a random preseason game in the NFL that every single fan under the sun knows does not matter, where majority of the time it's not even the starters, majority of the time it's not even players that are going to be on the team, will get better ratings than anything that happens in the WNBA. Better than the championship, than the finals for the WNBA. That's what you guys have to understand. That's what you have to put in perspective. That literally the most random bootleg football games that don't even matter are have infinitely more ratings than the biggest moment in the WNBA. That's how little people care about the WNBA. But they care about Caitlin Clark, and you have to accept that. Otherwise, there would be no WNBA. If it wasn't for just these media companies and the NBA trying so hard to make it work, in a true capitalist society, the WNBA would not exist. It would keep failing like the XFL. Because it's just people either watch it or they don't. But since it is women's sports, they're trying really hard. They really want that to make it work. They finally have the key. And Colin tried to talk around it. This will be my last point. Colin tried to talk around it where he's like, oh, the WNBA is too insular, too niche. No. We know what it is. We know exactly what it is. They do not want. See Caitlin Clark? See what she looks like? See what she represents? They do not want her to be the face of the WNBA. It's that clear. It's that simple. They do not want that to be the face. They just do not. Her existence, most of these women find fundamentally incompatible. She is an enemy. And that's why I beg Caitlin Clark to just stop trying to be friends with these women. That's not what it's about. Be Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was not trying to be friends with anyone. He was there to win. He was there to take over. He was there to be an absolute beast, mamba mentality. And because of that, he got the respect of the other players. They wanted his friendship because they just knew he is for real. Caitlin Clark is for real. I just really hope she can tap into that energy. Stop trying to be accepted by the ladies within the WNBA and just conquer it. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think, Colin, like he says, that the WNBA blew their chance at becoming relevant? Do you think that's a little too harsh? Do you think it's still possible to recapture some of this momentum? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.